Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap Polaris 34, and that's probably all. We may touch a little bit on ADCC trials that I'm flying down to next week to just watch live as a fan with my wife.
Next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now, so the preview show would come out next week, but
yeah,
scheduling logistics. But basically just Polaris 34 this week. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, and my co-host.
Miranda.
How you doing, Miranda?
Pretty good. How are
We
you?
also have Cory here. We actually...
Howdy, folks.
Whereas it was like, I'll be sit off camera. So we basically got some of the team together today to watch Polaris. The event has just finished. We did a pre-show, had some dinner, and we are recording it basically. This is a rare Saturday night recording because Polaris has the courtesy to be in the UK and actually end at a very reasonable time on a Saturday afternoon, which is, again, one of the reasons why I like to watch Polaris live.
It seemed like it was later in the day than normal for
I think it usually ends, like Polaris usually ends in my head at like 4 or 5 at the latest.
That's what I think too.
But it was a 3 p.m. start time here. So we're recording the show. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Now we're starting the recording, but it was very nice to get the team together. Polaris is one of the few events that the pacing actually is good enough for me to I'd send out the bat signal and go, hey, do you guys want to come over and watch Polaris? Because usually it's a couple hours. The squads events gives you a lot of context for even the matches that aren't the most exciting, kind of in a vacuum, suddenly matter, and you understand some of the tactical and strategic decisions where it's like, well, why is this guy stalling? I suddenly care that he's stalling because his points or his team or he's trying to tire out a guy. So it was a lot of fun. This event was one of the wildest, most submission-heavy squads events we have ever seen. If you haven't watched the event, I don't say this very often, and you want to watch the event, turn off the podcast. Don't have us spoil it for you. Even if you've seen some highlights, just go back and watch the event. It's a couple hours of your time. It is genuinely, we had a great time watching it in a way that I think when we watch events, we haven't had this much fun in a while watching an event.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So if you are not going to stop the show to listen to it, let's jump right into the recap. Big news before we get into the recap. Elijah Dorsey versus Andrew Tackett has been announced for the new Fight Pass invitation.
Yep.
UFC BJJ on December 11th. So that is coming up soon. We'll talk about that title fight when we get closer to that event. That'll be a really, really fun matchup, a kind of a big contrast in styles. So I can't wait to preview that. We are getting close to Lachlan Giles versus Marcelo Garcia. Please tell me that's in December and not in November. It's like next week.
I was looking at BJJ stars. Let me look.
That's coming up. So I'll stall for time while you do that. Other than that, we are now officially into the ADCC season for 2026 for the U.S. and North American trials. Those are kicking off. We have one more week of registrations that are open for that event. I think we have one more week as the time of this recording. It is November 1st for this recording. So one more week until that ends up. Notably, much smaller divisions than we've had in the last couple of years, which I think I kind of like because we don't have those massive. What you got, Cory?
It is on December 5th.
December 5th. Okay, so we have a month. Cool. It is always my fear that we're going to miss that preview. So that's Marcelo versus Lachlan. So we'll preview that closer to that after ADCC trials. Trials registrations are a little lower, which is good, I think, because previously when they've capped them at 256, there's been an absolute bloodbath with people that weren't quite on the level entering those trials. So I do appreciate we're seeing kind of a higher concentration of athletes that I think are more reasonably expected to place into the trials, and it fields those out so the days aren't quite as long for the athletes.
I think people also sign up at the last minute.
Usually, but I think even before, I think 66 was capped out
Yeah,
fully.
true.
I think we only have 144 or something like that right now. There's still essentially 100 additional slots. The division almost has to double before we get to the capping off point, which I think to get 100 people in a week would be pretty phenomenal. I like that the divisions aren't as full because when they got full, you had a couple of rounds in the beginning that were guys that really shouldn't be there. That should do opens
I'm the complete opposite. I want to see it. I want to see the chaos. I want the dude
we already
that really
have the first round for that.
I want the guy that shouldn't make it to round 3, make it to round 3, and then just get assaulted by some.
And then get Cade
human.
Rotolo on his trials run. And
Yep.
You're like, oh, that's a rough day to go. So that's coming up. We are now officially in the North American side, kicking into ADCC season. We had European trials, had an Asian trials already, but this is the first North American trials. Can't wait. My wife and I got our tickets down to Florida, so we're going to be there live. No idea how the scheduling is going to work for the podcast, but we will cross that bridge when we burn it. So let's kick it off with Polaris. Any other news you got?
I don't think so.
All right, let's kick it off to Polaris. So, Polaris squads. This was Team Europe, a powerhouse of a team, versus Team Asia and Australasia.
Yes.
Spoiler here. If you don't want spoilers for how the event ends, skip about 15 seconds forward. Final tally is Team Europe takes it 35-12.
Yes.
The teams were a little imbalanced, but for some reason, the Polaris squads format, even though we knew pretty much halfway through, or even kind of at the beginning of the second half of the event, at no point were we bored watching it because we were like, well, the score doesn't matter. Europe's going to win the event. But I'm still really curious how it plays out because the matches are well-paced. They are quick. There are stakes on the line. And people are opening themselves up by like willing and looking for subs, and people are getting tired. If you have someone that wins a match, they stay on like in the quintet format. And so, for instance, Mateusz Szczeciński has like 9 matches on the day, and you're like, by the time he gets to the 4th, the 5th guy in a run, he's suddenly not quite the same guy he was when he was fresh on the mat. He's had 10 plus minutes, 15 plus minutes of mat time. He's going to be tired going against a fresh guy. You're going to see submissions. You're going to see guys that maybe wouldn't have normally beat him in a straight-up match be able to beat him. And that's one of the things that I really love about the quintet format and about the squads format. We've kind of gone back and forth criticizing the decision format in a quintet. Like if a guy wins by decision, he gets a point and he stays on. I actually really think it does work in the squads format because the matches are shorter. And because the teams it's 6-person teams, and you don't have to run through your entire team. You can refield a guy once someone else has come off. And so I just think the format works really well with what squads is doing, and I just generally like how it runs. So general format for squads: 2 teams of 6 grapplers. Each team has 3 guys that are under 95 kilograms and under 80 kilograms. You field your first guy out. Matches are 5 minutes long. If there's a submission and there's no weight difference, it's 2 points. So both guys are 80 kilograms or both guys are 95 kilograms. If there is a under 80 kilo guy subbing an under 95 pound guy, he gets 3 points for that. There's no change of time like in quintet where there's a bigger gap in weight. There can be a change of match time. Same match time as always. Each team has 1 timeout that is 90 seconds in their period to do that. And 1/2 of this event is 45 minutes. There's an intermission, a break, essentially a change of sides, and they come back out for 45 minutes. So occasionally, if you have a bunch of subs, normally you'd have 9 matches. You can have more matches because the overall running clock is different from the mat clock. And so this comes up at the end of each half of the event. After 45 minutes have elapsed, the last match is usually 1 minute or 2 minutes long, not a full 5 minutes. So that doesn't really come into a factor for scoring for this event, but it's just something to note, just as a different flair, because we don't cover squads more than a couple of times a year. It's a unique format. I like the format a lot, and this event was just a ton of fun to watch live. So with all the business out of the way, Miranda, let's kick it off with the first match of the evening, which we'd see again later in the match, later in the evening. Joseph Chen versus Lucas Kennard. There's a lot of matches on this card. We're not going to go into huge amounts of detail with each match, just really give you the highlights, give you the big pieces and takeaway, because then there's so many matches. Usually when we have more than about 9 matches on a show, we try to give kind of just the highlights of those because the shows tend to run really long and it just becomes, I think, less interesting to talk about. And so we'll focus for the highlights for all of them, but we're going to run through both the first half and the second half and the 2 women's title fights that we had on the card, which were also really fun, that ended in fun ways. So what do you got for Joseph Chen versus Lucas Kennard that you want to talk about?
I have sub attempts.
Basically.
Yeah, Kennard wins the decision on aggression and leg lock attempts.
Yeah, and then we move on. So again, that was for a lot of the decisions. That's the criteria.
Yeah.
And it seems like the criteria for squads is mostly the person who is the aggressor and the person that is looking to finish the match. Kind of a bit like ADCC rules where it's like if all things are even, it was the person that was initiating and moving forward. But generally speaking, I think there's only one of these matches that kind of like, oh, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
The decisions are pretty clear. If you've watched grappling for any length of time, you can go, yeah, the guy doing more and the guy putting his opponent on the offensive is generally speaking the guy who's going to win that. If they're even, again, it can be a coin flip if it's very close. That's kind of how all decisions work. This one was Kennard going to the legs. That's really, that's where we know Kennard best. That
Yes.
Victor Hugo sub at CGI 1 is his big claim to fame, and like everyone in the world saw him take out the number 1 seed in that event. Kennard's going to go for the legs. You're going against Kennard. You're going to deal with him going into the legs.
We also saw a much larger Joseph Chen.
Was he under 95 for this one or under 80?
He was 89 kilograms for this tournament.
Yeah, I thought he was 86, but yeah, 89.
Yeah.
You went down 89. Yeah, dude got beefy. I'm curious if he goes to, I mean, he's not going to go to 88. He's going to have to go back to his normal weight class for trials for under 77, but he's potentially going to have to cut a pretty significant amount of weight because he doesn't look like, he looks like he's just gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Not just like he's put on like fat. He just looks like a bigger dude.
He looks thicker.
Yeah.
But he's always been kind of a bigger dude because I know the times that I saw him in person, I was like, dude.
You always go like, oh yeah, he's bigger than I thought
yeah.
he was. Like I thought he was like he's like a regular 77er. He's a pretty big 77er. So again, but going from 86, which is probably his walk around weight, down, you're gonna have to cut 9 kilograms, about 18 pounds. That's a pretty decent.
Yeah.
I mean, a pretty decent chunk to get down. So it'll be interesting. Next match we had Owen O'Flanagan versus Lucas Kennard. This match sets the tone. Actually, the first match kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
It's going to be a leg lock heavy evening in Europe.
Yeah. This match was interesting for the fact that both of them were trying to go into the legs. And you kind of knew that both of them were trying to go into the legs. And it was kind of a battle of who can who can get there faster or who could set up the most interesting kind of entry or
entanglement.
Yeah, entanglement. Because like if you go into the straight, like a lot of your normal leg entanglements, you're kind of chilling your legs out as much as they're, and it becomes like a pissing match on who can grab each other's feet faster.
Yeah, it becomes like a shotgun of like, hey, I can get here faster. Interestingly enough, we saw Owen continue. We've seen this through a lot of Owen's career. He is really, really good at entering into a saddle and then very, very good at trapping both legs on like traditionally what's like a Texas cloverleaf, where he gets both legs on the same side. But
he also has like a lot of hip flexibility for a larger man
because he does 88 kilos too, and he's not a small guy at 88 kilos. He's lanky, he's tall. The interesting thing, whenever Owen goes to like the double leg control on the same side where he has his opponent's legs crossed on his one hip, most people, and traditionally, you'd go for a Texas cloverleaf, which is the one where you go underneath one leg and you basically pull up on the heel of the lower leg and then it pushes against the shin of the top leg and you basically flex over the top of the shin bone. It's really uncomfortable. It's a Texas cloverleaf, figure 4 cloverleaf, bunch of different kind of terms for it. Owen never goes for this. He almost universally will either go for, always will either go for the heel hook, or he will pass over for the heel hook, so he has one leg on each side. Yeah. Or he will go for the straight ankle lock. Yeah. And we see him throughout this tournament. I think this one.
Or he goes for the Z lock.
The Z lock.
Because the Z lock's the same setup. You want their legs kind of there, but
and then you push on the outside ankle.
You kind of split the legs.
You attack the hip. I think this is a straight ankle lock is what he finishes here, but it looks like he is in the process of going for the Z lock, but he gets the straight ankle like as he's going there. Yeah. Some of these finishes are very, very quick and come off of like interesting either counters or interesting setups. And this is definitely one of them, again, kicking off the second match of the evening with Owen taking this where it was like, oh yeah, there's some Very interesting tact when 2 leg lockers and 2 high-level leg lockers known for finishing the leg locks, not just getting to them, but actually being able to finish at a high level, go at it. I'm always really interested in the leg locks that actually end up working, and they seem to be the ones where there is a really, really good level of control, and they're not getting flash subs. They're getting like, oh, he's kind of done, and there is no place to run. There is no other escape available. It's not like he's getting him, even though there's an escape. There is not a really good escape for Kennard to even start going for here, and Owen is able to get the leg out of it.
Yeah.
So, anything else on this one?
Nope.
Moving on, we have Owen O'Flanagan versus Oliver Taza. Interesting for this event, Oliver Taza was replacing Kenta Iwamoto on Team Asia because Kenta apparently has, a knee infection?
Yeah.
As they said on the broadcast?
Yeah.
Which is...
It could just be that, like, his knee fluid got infected, or it could be, like, his skin on his, it could be cellulitis. It could be a variety of
It was just, like, a really interesting thing to term it as a knee infection. I was like, like, usually people say, like, an infection, but, like, a knee infection is, like, a specific thing.
Remember the last time, I'm trying to think, he got injured at a tournament, but that was, he got his head smacked, didn't he?
Oh, trials. He had to pull out a trial. No, he had to pull out of...
No, it was like a tournament.
What
and
was
he was
it?
like in the middle of it.
It was trials.
It was Giles trials.
It was Giles trials. Okay, yeah. I knew it was a trials.
Yeah.
Like, it was Giles trials before CJI 2.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But that was his head. I don't think that was a knee.
Right.
But anyway.
Oliver Taza, even though he's Canadian and Lebanese, replaces Kenta Iwamoto on Team Asia, which I think is honestly a pretty decent replacement. As far as, who you're going to get on a late replacement to come in and have not necessarily a similar game plan to Kenta, but be able to push a similar level of, like...
I don't think they have a game plan each other at all.
But I mean, like, level. Like, both trials winners, European trials winners, like, Asian trials winners for Kenta. You replace him of a guy that's similar. But I think Kenta... Potentially his game works better in this format because Kenta will take more risks and generally is willing to scramble at him and like create more opportunity for him to get the sub, which Taza, especially towards the later event, did.
That's because I think Taza got pissed off.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later.
I think Taza getting mad made him like...
It's the key to victory. Yeah. It was the key for suddenly him to have some really good...
We need to figure out a way to get Taza mad before every match.
And then dude turns into a different guy.
Taza gets... kind of like he's heavy on the head. They're wrestling, and then he gets a foot sweep on the announcers say that Owen slipped.
It looked like a little of both because Taza kind of pushes him as Owen. Like Taza capitalizes on Owen being off balance and getting him over, and then you see Owen kind of like fall over and then doesn't really fight. He goes, okay, like I'll just get out. Again, it's a decision based format. There's no problem with getting pushed over. Yeah, and so.
It is what it is.
I think that might have been actually the moment that it was like you have Taza on top, he gets top position there, and then from there, that's the majority of the match. Taza kind of working on top, pushing most of the action. He takes the decision. So now we have Mateusz Szczeciński going against Oliver Taza. A little backstory on this match. Miranda hates this match.
I hated it.
But
it's okay.
For years. So back in the day, 2022 trials for European trials for the finals of 77 kilograms, we had an Oliver Taza and Mateusz Szczeciński finals. Yeah. Miranda was a big fan of Mateusz Szczeciński. She was loving what she was doing. She was on the train.
Awesome. I'm still on the train.
And Mateusz Szczeciński is arguably winning the match.
I call him Polish Mateusz.
Polish Mateusz. Yeah. Even on the scorecards. And Mateusz makes a tactical error and basically pulls when he shouldn't pull, gets assessed a negative point for the pull, loses the trials finals as a result of this pull. Oliver Taza wins. Yes. So this is one that Mateusz wants to get back. I think they may have had a match since then, but I don't.
Oh, I'm sure they
I don't know. But again, there's a big rivalry here. I think Mateusz may have ended up going to ADCC anyway that year.
He did.
But still, like you gotta take your trial spot because he beats you. Holy shit. This was the beginning of a Mateusz Szczeciński run.
And what's funny is this is the first, I think, tournament that Mateusz has done since coming back from a torn bicep.
Yeah, he was in the big sling and he had the surgery. I think he had the surgery, didn't he?
He had surgery, I think.
Yeah, so this is the first time back we didn't know, like, what does Mateusz, how does he look? Does he favor the bicep? Is he worried about it?
His bicep be fine.
His bicep be fine. Yeah, Mateusz Szczeciński has no worries. He hits Oliver Taza with a beautiful, like, I'm going to call it a second level. I call it in the notes next level bolo.
Bolo, yeah.
I don't understand enough about the bolo game. Miranda, when we were all having dinner, Cory and I and Miranda were having dinner. Miranda's was just on Instagram looking for him teaching this bear in bolo.
He teaches a bunch of them. Basically, he like X's his legs, kind of like X guard when you're standing. But he does it kind of like on the ground.
From his hip.
And he kind of like pushes you away with both of his feet and like jumps on your back at the same time.
And then he like Taza
but like
if
counters. But if you counter,
the
then he just goes the other direction. Dude, I think it's just bolo.
It was I do not remember the last time I have seen a guy on Oliver Taza's back for any length of time.
Yeah, and then he has really like thin, longish legs. Mm-hmm. So Mateusz just locks a body triangle. And yeah.
Inside body triangle, outside body triangle, inside body triangle. And then like 4 minutes of this match are just Mateusz Szczeciński on the back, looking for the choke, looking for the control.
Yeah.
Oliver Taza at 3 different times in this match. I was like, oh, he's out. And then Mateusz Szczeciński, because he gets his shoulders back. Yeah. Taza has a really weird defense where he essentially tries to Granby roll out of the body triangle on the back. Mateusz Szczeciński can still keep the body triangle.
Yeah, he does.
Stays on his back, gets the shoulders back every single time. And the match ends, and it's like very clearly Mateusz Szczeciński has taken this. He wins a decision over Oliver Taza, but it was just beautiful work to have the level of control on the back.
Yeah.
And then the initial bolo like counter or like response to a bolo counter to get the back in the first place.
Yeah.
Like just one of the best performances we have ever seen from Mateusz Szczeciński. Again, in a rematch, if you go back and look at the match at trials, it did not look nearly this competitive. No. It was like a hair-biter match. This was very clearly Mateusz Szczeciński winning this match in any format.
Yeah.
Just very, very impressive. Then, 30 seconds pass. We have, I have his name, autocorrect butchered his name around. Do you have the correct pronunciation of his name here?
Yeah, it's Hejat. Nasid.
Nasid or Rashid, which is what it had, because it had Ra and then S-H-I-D.
R-A-S-H-I-D. Rashid?
Maybe.
Rashid.
Is that how it's pronounced? Thank you, Cory. I appreciate that. Rashid. Let's go with Rashid, because that's what my note has here, but on the broadcast, that's not how his name was listed. This match, I think the commentator says it was 11 seconds. From the on-screen broadcast time, which isn't correct, by the way. That's just an overlay that is an unofficial time for any combat sports. 6 seconds.
Yeah.
The first exchange, Szczeciński sits, Rashid goes down to address the legs. Mateusz Szczeciński grabs the classic shotgun armbar that he's done for years now.
Yes.
He grabs behind Rashid's elbow and then turns, opens up his hips, and then armbars you.
Yes.
Miranda, you showed me this, I want to say like a year or two ago, because you bought a DVD or bought like a...
I stole it from the Atos,
the Atos Online.
Atos Online. Mateusz has an entire instructional there, and I may or may not have
purchased it legally.
Recorded.
I have purchased it legally, Miranda.
Purchased it legally.
I
have also purchased his shotgun Aoki lock.
You did do that
thing, so I have supported.
You showed me this exact armbar that he did like a couple years ago, and you're like, look how he does this. Because he hit it on trials or something, and you're like, no, I've seen this.
He hit it at championships on Gary Tonin.
Oh, that's
in like
what it was.
5 seconds.
I knew this was like a deja vu moment.
Yeah, he he probably hit it at trials too.
He probably hit it a bunch, but it was a 6 second match where Mateusz Szczeciński goes, cool, armbar. And then next match, Mateusz Szczeciński versus
Mohammed.
Thank you.
Avatar
Antonarev is how I have it, but I'm going to butcher his name.
I can't pronounce.
Call him Muhammad. He's the only Muhammad on the event. This is basically...
He tried the same armbar initially, and I was like, oh, man.
And then you saw Muhammad just go, like, kind of looking up, not, and then immediately checks his hand further back. Like, but that's one of the things I like about this format is your team and the other team immediately saw what happened, and like, okay, I got to watch out for that thing that you just did 36 seconds prior. You see Muhammad kind of change his passing style, and then 2 minutes roll by, and Mateusz gets to single leg X, or like double outside. They have some name for it that eventually in 2026 I will learn. I'm going to learn all the judo throws. I'm going to learn all the leg lock names for the official names. Outside 50-50. And Antonarov goes, I don't like this, and stands up. And then you see him go, I think the technical term is fuck it. He drops back into a heel hook to try to like counter heel hook Mateusz Szczeciński from top position. He drops down. As he drops down, Mateusz Szczeciński goes, you've dropped down for a footlock, the thing that I am also quite well known for.
Yeah.
And immediately drops on a shotgun ankle lock and finishes the shotgun ankle lock. And
like belly down.
and you said he got it twice.
Does it twice.
He like kind of boots it twice because I think it's not clear if there's a tap initially.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to make you tap then.
And then
I think it was like he pulled it, and then he thought the guy tapped, and then I guess...
He didn't know. If you go back and watch, it's like
Yeah.
a half-second difference, but he gets it. And then we're like, okay, so Mateusz Szczeciński has just scored a shitload of points
Yes.
for his team repeatedly.
And then they send out the smallest person on
They
their
sent out like
team.
a 66. They sent out Tommy Yip. And then Mateusz Szczeciński goes, I just gotta keep it going. And then he ankle locks Tommy Yip.
Yes.
Straight ankle lock. Another shotgun straight ankle lock from an interesting like top side position where he was like on his back.
He likes to do like the feet on the hip and kind of like hip up into the foot rather than, or like fall back as you hip up as opposed to like falling on your shoulder and kind of rolling over
It
your
makes
head.
the defense really hard because you're essentially defending an ankle lock flat on your back.
Well, and all your weight's in your hips, so you can't
can't
really
roll.
move. Yeah.
And so we're seeing this more and more. Like this used to be you get it as a guy countered and rolled and didn't beat the roll, and then his leg exploded as he rolled. Nowadays we're seeing more and more guys do it and like push guys back flat on their backs.
Yeah.
And it not be as part of a roll.
And it was what Dima had actually showed us when he came to our gym to do the ankle locks. I was going to say you were there, but you were there.
I was there for the first day.
You were there for the first
I had to
day,
coach because my guys had all competed the second day.
Yeah, the second day we did ankle locks, and this is basically what.
And then
how
you
he
immediately
tells-
did the podcast the next day and was like, let me show you this cool ankle lock.
Yeah.
And then was this the one he did? Yeah,
No,
different one.
No, it's the trend lock, which Taylor Pierman does later.
So then Mateusz Szczeciński continues
Yeah.
to go against Igor Tanabe, who's under 95 kilos. And I like Igor Tanabe. We've covered Igor Tanabe for years, back when he was a purple belt, back when he went against Tyson Rita, like twice on Quintet and other events. They had a super fight against each other. He went over to MMA. He's come back. I like Igor Tanabe a lot, mainly a gi guy. We watched him versus the Tackett brothers at Unrivaled a couple years ago in Japan. Fun guy. He's on Polaris a lot in squads events. He is susceptible to heel hooks and leg locks. Like, again, primarily an MMA fighter nowadays and more of a gi guy. It's still just something that's been exploitable on the squads events. And he goes in versus Mateusz, and I went, oh no, this is being set up for failure. And to Igor Tanabe's credit, there's like two separate tight straight ankle locks that Mateusz gets. And also, Mateusz is tired. Again, he's coming off of a full-length Taza match. He's coming off of a 6-second match. He's then coming off of a heel hook in an earlier match and a straight ankle lock, two straight ankle locks. And then he now has to go into Igor Tanabe. Like, Tanabe is fresh and big. Mateusz is slowed down. Tanabe staves off getting submitted, tries to take Mateusz Szczeciński's back at one point, which with a really good, well-timed pressure, like really starts to climb up the back. Similar to what we saw Penna do to Gordon back in like 2016, like very similar kind of established transition to the back. Mateusz gets through it. Mateusz has been more active on the ankle lock attempts, wins another decision. So you're like, right now, this is the Mateusz Szczeciński show.
Yeah.
He is handily winning this on his own for Team Europe. And then you're like, okay, who are you going to send out, Team Asia, to take out like Mateusz? Because I was thinking about that. We were talking because we were watching it live. We went, okay, so he's subbing everyone.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not like Quintet where you just ride him to a decision. It's a draw. He gets limited. Like, you actually have to beat him to take him out. Who do you send to do that? And I thought it was really funny because they sent out Muhammad Antonarov again, who is a bigger guy, who is noticeably bigger than Mateusz Szczeciński. And I went, okay, he got ankle locked earlier because he got kind of in single leg X and got countered. I bet he just tries to slow him down and just top positions him, and immediately went, okay. He put a pace on Szczeciński, who is, again, super tired at this point.
Well, and this is the match. It wasn't Igor who actually almost got his back. It was Mohammed.
Well, Igor like tries to counter to his back. Doesn't almost get his back. Sorry.
But Mohammed actually gets to his back.
Yeah.
To his credit, he gets out of it, but
You
you
can also see Szczeciński's face, and you're like, oh, that dude is tired.
Yeah.
Which is no understandable. And like when you go this many matches, that's just sort of an interesting flavor of like Mateusz Szczeciński in an open match given time. Like maybe Muhammad Antonarov cannot beat him, but if you put 4 matches in front of him and then you immediately put him back in front of Antonarov, well, now he's tired. Now that the match, maybe if there's a skill difference, can shift into Antonarov's favor because he's just not as tired. He's big and he's not as tired, and that was enough to get it done. Mateusz towards the end starts to get going again. He rests a little bit, starts to get going, but it's just not enough, and Antonarov can win, takes the decision over him, finally getting one on the board for Team Asia at this point. Kennard has a decision earlier, but puts a point on the board. So now Team Europe sends out Taylor Perelman, who is a man who I continue to call Taylor Perelman. It is Perelman, as Austin Jones corrected me many times. So I'm going to try to get that moving forward in 2025 and 2026, end of the year. He goes against Antonarov, and then you know Taylor Perelman,
this is the trend lock.
This is the trend lock.
I think.
No, this is his regular ankle lock. I think the trend lock is
his second match.
Shotgun. I think I might not have put it as trend lock.
No,
in the notes.
I think it's the second one because I have a note here. It was one of these.
One of these matches. Again, it all blends together with this many matches in a row. Perelman is known for a couple things. One, that controversial tap on Giancarlo Bodoni in CGI2. Also, winning every single trials match in 88 kilos in Europe by the same heel hook.
Yeah.
That's who this guy is. And so I went, man, Team Europe brought all of the best leg lockers on the continent into Polaris, and Polaris didn't go, hey, guys, chill with the leg locks. They were like, hey, man, as many as you can get. And Perelman gets a shotgun ankle lock on Muhammad Antonarov. Perelman stays in. He goes against, give me his name as well, because my text editor did not do any favors for his name.
Hejrat.
Rashid. Okay. His name again. Taylor Perelman gets another shotgun ankle lock on him. And this was the one I think that was the...
Oh, you think this was the trend lock?
Why don't you explain the trend lock? Because we haven't talked about that much on the show.
The trend lock it's a straight ankle lock. They also call them a short Achilles.
Yeah.
Right?
It has a couple of different names. Like we don't have a great name for it right now.
You basically grab it. You grab the foot like you're going to do a straight ankle lock, but you, with your outside foot, do a short hook that goes behind the knee, and then you try to get your inside leg in front of the knee. So rather than what they normally tell you with leg locks to always have your leg...
Foot on the hip or something?
Yeah, foot on the hip, or you have to like include the knee. This is all on the shin. And then you once you get that leg over the knee, you triangle your legs, and then you basically push into their knee as you like hip.
You showed it to me. It's really interesting because what it does is essentially you're pushing on the top of their shin and their knee with one of your legs. And so normally what you do for like getting out of some of your ankle locks is you drive your knee up and you basically make a bridge with your leg. This, because now the person who's attacking the foot's leg is over top of the shin, you can like push that defense down with your hips and body weight. And so it makes it weirdly hard to defend. It also makes it weirdly quick and like really strong when you hit it. And so one of these two, I forget exactly which one this is one with that like trend lock, because why is it trend lock?
I think because it's a foot lock on steroids.
That's what it was. Foot lock. You had a term for it. Somebody at Dima had a term for it.
I think it started getting called that during camp for CGI2.
At B Team, I think is what they were calling
it. Yeah, and it was when Dima was down there. And then Dima came up and taught me this because I have short legs. And normally I can't reach my legs to people's hips because I'm short-legged. So my fat little legs can go. And I'm pretty like... I have a lot of flexibility in that I can get my legs normally on someone's shin and like behind their knee because that's not the easiest thing to do. And so he taught it to me, and then I was like, does this have a name? He's like, no, it doesn't have a name. And then I saw it, and I was like, damn it, it's the trend lock. Why didn't he tell me it was the trend lock? But I guess, people have different names for different things.
You did it to me one time, and I was like, ooh, I don't love how this feels.
I also found that you could do it really fast. Like if somebody just like defends your one leg, all you really got to do is throw your leg over and hip into the and push down.
And that's
on the knee.
what Taylor does in one of these matches because they're standing up out of
Yeah.
the defense, and he just throws the leg over, and you're like, oh. And now that I felt it when you did it, I went, oh, I know immediately what that feels like, and there is no defense there.
It's almost like a De La Riva footlock, but
Yes.
like it's easier to get because
Like
you don't have to do like the weird side crunch to try to get it.
It comes on as quick as like every Kyotera footlock ever.
Yeah.
So next, anything else on these guys?
No.
Next one, we had Lucas Kennard coming out again versus Taylor Perriman. And Kennard went, I'm known for one thing and one thing only. And immediately, 22 seconds in the match, hits a saddle inside heel hook roll on Taylor. And I went, that's crazy that you just heel hooked the heel hook guy of Europe. But we know Kennard is good. And again, Taylor's now had a couple of matches. You get a little tired. Kennard's a big guy that goes quick, that subs fast. It's part of what makes these squads formats so much fun.
Yeah.
Is that these kind of results happen where Kennard just goes, cool, my team's behind. I got to win it for, Team Asia and Australasia. Boom, takes out Taylor in 22 seconds. So now we have anything else on that?
Nope.
We have Lucas Kennard versus Owen Jones.
Owen Jones. They basically
he had two matches. I thought he had one match. Yeah.
No, they both have the same game basically. They're both trying to play that.
Except Kennard is another person bigger.
Yes.
So Kennard is under 95 kilos, and Owen Jones is typically under 66.
I think Kennard's facial hair weighs more than Owen Jones does.
But so
because he was rocking like the full beard.
He was rocking
like,
a massive beard,
full hair. Like he was very mountain manish.
What I thought was really interesting in this match was Owen is a guy we typically see play from the bottom. We saw him like 2 weeks ago versus DeAndre. We saw him at ADCC, like typically a guy that wants to play from the bottom. Really great guard player. Really good arm bars, good leg locks. Kennard pulls, and Owen goes, yeah, the bigger guy pulled, I'm going to pass. And immediately just hits the pace on the passing versus Lucas Kennard. And like we know Owen Jones had good passing. Like, we've seen him before. We've seen him compete like outside of ADCC where passing is more of a priority in the lower weight divisions. He has really a very well-rounded good passing. It was nice to see him do that versus Lucas Kennard. And I went, oh yeah, he is a really good passer. He just, generally speaking, keeps a higher pace versus Kennard. Good passing attempt. And at one point, he goes to the bottom. He plays from the bottom a little bit. But just generally, he was more aggressive. And I think, for me at least, that's what, watching this one time 2 hours ago, I think is what wins Owen Jones the decision here.
Because no one really gets a good attempt on anybody.
Yeah.
There isn't really, if they are, they're not. Neither of them are reacting in a way that tells you like they were in trouble.
That's close. He was like, it just it looks like normal jiu-jitsu happening. And it's like, yep, you should guard here. You should pass here. This is, nothing of significant note other than like the pacing that Owen was keeping. And so I gave it to him on pacing. Next match, we had Oliver Taza returning versus Owen Jones.
Oliver Taza a little pissy.
Oliver Taza a little mad after the Mateusz Szczeciński match. And you saw that. And Taza comes out, and it is the rare Taza that we see that is angry at pace Taza.
Yeah.
And puts Owen Jones on the back foot a little bit, starts going to the legs, like aggressively pathing towards the leg, which is where we've always said Taza is the best at. Like when he is aggressively hunting for the outside heel hook, that inverted knee bar, like that's where he's the best. So this is also potentially the last match of the half.
Yeah.
Because we're at the 43-minute mark or something like that. So there's less than 2 minutes left in this match.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a full time-length match because we've had the submissions throughout it. So Taza and Owen have a very limited time to work. And Taza ends this match like sort of looking for that classic like inverted knee bar, like getting pretty close on it. Doesn't get the finish on it. They give Taza the win on the match because, again, I think he was definitely the aggressor in the match and definitely the one that was looking for, like, he was nothing close, but he was the one hunting for the subs in the match. You said something? Sorry.
No, that's...
And Taza wins, and it is now 17-6 in favor of Team Europe at the half.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before. We've seen big point differentials before.
Mateusz has made 10 of their 17 points.
Yeah. Mateusz was a real good one to have on your team in the first half. Yeah, just a monster in the first half. So what I think we do. So what happened here is they had the two women's title fights. We save those for the end.
Okay.
We're already into the tournament here. I think pausing doesn't really make sense contextually for the show. I think we run through.
Okay.
We do women's title fights at the end.
That's
Unless
fine.
What do you think?
Nah, that
You
works.
think good? Cory, you think we're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. All right. So women's title fights happen. They're amazing. Can't wait to talk about them. We'll talk about them after the men's tournament here, because we saw some nifty stuff that I got to be wrong about stuff, and I love that on the podcast. So at the half, both teams come back out, and we see a new face return to the stage. Santeri.
Yeah.
Lilius, who's the guy's name who I always blow with the podcast. Multiple time ADCC trials winner at 88 kilos. Just notoriously crazy hard to put away.
Yes.
And notoriously crazy hard to beat in ADCC rules. He has one loss in 3 trials appearances.
Pretty much.
Just incredibly difficult to beat. And he comes out versus Igor Tanabe.
What you think gonna happen?
Well, Tanabe versus Mateusz was able to stick it out. Versus Santeri, who is not as lucky. Santeri threads to inside saddle and then gets an outside heel hook and subs Igor Tanabe. And I went, well, at least I read the context of the match of still potentially a problem.
They were both under 95 kilo guys.
Yeah. So again, you get the 2 points for the submission, but Santeri moves on. Versus Oliver Taza. So one of the things I also really like about the format for this event is that you're not beholden to this guy goes, this guy goes. It's the order that you have.
Yeah.
You can go, hey, throw Taza in again.
And I feel
throw Muhammad again.
I feel like when we get later into this, there's a couple matches where they definitely were who wants this match? And the dude was like, I want to.
Yeah.
And then you could see there's
some jockeying,
yeah.
there's tension that comes in. But I like that because it kept me on the edge of my seat because I never knew. I was like, who are they gonna field next? Because teams can on the fly make new decisions.
Yeah.
And it just keeps me engaged about oh, I know it's this guy, then this guy. He beats this guy, then this guy. It's the team can change it up and essentially have a live dog in that fight at any point in the match. So they pull Taza again, and I went, ooh, bold strategy. Good match, little less activity, but again, you're trying to get Santeri out of there, and Santeri wins a close decision. Do you have any other notes on the match?
No.
Then we have Santeri versus Muhammad Antonov.
Yep.
Again, out here. And I was really impressed. Muhammad forces Santeri to, not to turtle, but to invert and roll through, but not even a full invert. Kind of tries to roll through back on his guard off a pass attempt from Muhammad.
Yeah. And
Muhammad just goes, cool. Hops his back off it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sequence. You should go back and watch the sequence because it was actually we watched it a couple. We tabbed back and forth. One of the things I love about Fight Pass.
I thought it was much more complicated than it actually was.
Yeah, we watched it twice and I went he just kind of covered the back and then hopped it and just the timing and the momentum was good and the hip pressure was good. He just kind of gets there. The Fight Pass interface is, other than YouTube, is the best interface for live events and for all the broadcasts because you don't have to watch it live. But you can watch it live and pause it and go back and go forward and go back and go forward. And so we can rewatch things 3 and 4 times. And we watched this a couple of times and went, oh yeah, he kind of just does exactly what you should do for the counter here. Just takes his back.
He just winds up being in the right place. He knows when he tries that pass, he knows where he needs to be in order to just jump the back from there. And then he just locks a rear naked choke in the transition.
It's pretty quick. He's got hands in front, and you just see him. I was like, he's not gonna get that quickly. And he just put Santeri away, and I was wildly impressive. Holy shit. So then Santeri's out. Muhammad Antonov moves on. Team Europe fields Joseph Chen.
Yes.
And I went, ooh, I'm curious how this goes. Because again, I'm a huge just fan of Joseph Chen. I like how his game is constructed. I think it's nifty and interesting in ways that I find kind of fun to watch and commentate on. Joseph Chen in the middle of passing Muhammad Antonarov. Like, he has him in a split pass open. He's been pressuring lower and lower on Antonarov's hips. Like, he's going to do like a straight up flat pass across like a half guard.
Well, and he's been doing that a lot with his passing. Like, getting his hips low to pass. It's between that and like camping, and like when we did the seminar with Dima, who is helping him. I mean,
a big
coaching
coach for Chen.
Yeah. He's a big proponent in like making them carry your weight. Mm-hmm. So like getting your hips lower and
Chen was doing an amazing
and putting your weight into people.
You could see his whole chest was over Antonarov, and he had not only put his chest over, but he had dropped his hips like you see guys do that are really, really good at the Sao Paulo pass.
Yeah.
Where they like drop their weight and you're like, you can't turn the guy over. You're stuck in this weird position where you're carrying all their weight and you can't even counter because like if you go to counter, they slide through.
Yeah.
And he starts to get Muhammad to carry his weight, and then Muhammad goes to like move, and Chen just drops into like the very classic low hip dog bar.
Yeah.
And then just gets it, and I went, wait, did he just hit a fucking dog bar? And the commentary goes, oh, he hit a dog bar. And we all went, it's the textbook place where you're taught to hit this from, but I have always found so incredibly hard to get there, not when they're like in transition, just like to straight up get their leg low and get it.
The only time I ever get it is people being lazy. They have to be lazy with that leg. And once they're lazy with the leg, I'll try it. But normally I try it just to make them move their leg because you start putting your weight in and all of a sudden they move the leg.
They lift leg on a pass off it. Yeah.
But sometimes when people are lazy. But
Chen, just the way Chen set this up, your leg kind of gets stuck in his passing there.
I'm so also upset that I didn't make note of what match all three of us screamed triangle at.
That was I think it was
There was a triangle attempt.
There was almost a triangle attempt is a leg in triangle.
Yes, when you almost like knee yourself in the face.
Yeah, where we don't see it very often.
Yeah,
but Cory, Miranda, and I all screamed triangle at the screen in my living room.
Yeah, it was fun.
And those are the moments in watching jiu-jitsu events with your team and with your friends that like you kind of don't forget. Where it's like,
because triangles are like the thing that your coach does to you to make you hate your life.
And you're like it's the thing your coach does to you when I've been trying to do it the core for like 6 months. I haven't got it yet, but it's the thing you do where it's like you put a stamp on like, yeah, I know how. Like this is where we're at.
Yeah. Not only are we gonna like double armbar you, but now we're going to.
Like I put a little stank on it because I could. And you're like, hey man, I know how good I am at this sport. You gotta rub it in with like a triangle. And like the worst thing about the triangle is when they're getting it, you watch them get excited they're getting it too. Yeah. And you're like, cool, I can't have you excited to get the sub on me because like, and you're like, cool, everything in the world to we went from training normal to me trying my hardest to get out of this.
Because the other thing is, if anybody in the room is seeing it happen, they immediately scream, "It's a triangle!" And then everybody in the room
becomes a community event.
Then everybody watches it as it happens.
Like I've stopped rounds. I'm like, wait, look at this. Like I had a round, I think last week in the room, where one of my students were rolling, and then I forget who it was. They were trying to do something, and I just paused. I was like, "Wait." And like I look at that, watch this. And then I got to watch another student do something to someone else, and I went, that was cool, wasn't it? He goes, yeah. And we kept going. Yeah. But those little moments in the training room are always great. Joseph Chen hits a dog bar here. Back on topic.
Yes.
As I'm just like I have torpedoed the show into a direction.
We do this at times. Chen versus Tommy Yip is the next match.
Couldn't find my place in the notes.
And Chen is like, I'm going to pass.
Chen like takes his foot off the gas hard here. You could see they're up by a pretty significant margin. And Chen is just not passing at will, but very clearly able to pass and mount at his discretion.
Seat, yeah.
And then towards late in the match, like the last 10 seconds, he kind of goes for an armbar, but you could tell that he was probably just trying to take a clean decision here.
Yeah.
Over Yip. I didn't really know why he didn't really lean into it. What you got, Cory?
I think what we were saying, he was trying to maybe even kind of just rest a little bit because he anticipated seeing a couple of the people right after that point. Yeah.
Tactically, it made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, I can probably beat Tommy Yip. I don't necessarily need the points that a submission will give me, and I'll get way more
Or it
tired hunting a sub on a guy that's defensively sound.
Yeah.
You're in this as a smaller guy.
Yeah.
You're in this because your defense is really
Or
good.
it could just be that he wanted something specific and Tommy just wasn't giving him what he wanted.
Because Tommy was pretty stalwart
Yeah.
in his defense, just hands in, elbows in, just like
Plus, at this point, he was up by like what 22 points. I think they were up. You were up.
something. They were up by a pretty good margin. And so again, this is when the tactics come in of like, I don't necessarily need to overextend myself. I'm a strong guy on Team Europe. I can probably take out more people if given the opportunity. Now that we're up, I don't need these submissions on everyone. Me being in and just sort of beginning to run down the clock on this is a very valuable strategy for my team. Then we have Joseph Chen moving on, and he is versus Rashid. This is where he hits the trend lock.
Yeah.
So Joseph Chen hits a trend lock.
But this was like the second trend lock of the day.
At least.
Yeah.
I think Perriman hits one as well.
Yeah.
I think because I know
Because
Perriman gets lifted up.
I wrote the note earlier. Because I wanted to make sure that I knew what we were talking about when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So at least the second trend lock of the day.
And we didn't count the subs. I should have counted the subs on the event. This is by far the most submissions we have ever seen at a Polaris Squads event. This was wild. So next we have Joseph Chen versus Kennard. Interestingly enough, this is the match that kicked off the event. You'll see a trend here for the next couple of matches. And then we have Kennard winning a decision, basically just being more active in the legs versus Chen. And that is exactly how he won the first match.
Yes.
So it was weird. So Cory at this point had made it back over to the house. And so we'd given Cory the recap.
On time as usual.
We gave Cory the recap of the show and of the event so far. And then we've already seen this match. And then it was immediately followed by it was followed by Kennard versus Owen, which was the second match of the event.
Yes.
Which was then immediately followed by Owen getting a straight ankle lock in a very similar way, which was the exact same result that had happened in their first match, done in a really similar way. And so it was this weird deja vu of just like, we saw this, then we saw this again. It was just very funny to have the two matches line up exactly in the same way, which again isn't super uncommon for squads. And it happens almost every time where there's like, oh, we've already seen this match once in tonight's event. But it is very funny when it's the same result for different grapplers in a row. So after that, you have anything else on the Owen match you want to talk about? It was a neat sub.
Nope.
But it was essentially, even the commentary goes, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Next we have Owen O'Flanagan versus Muhammad Atanarev. There's a cut at one point during the match, and you see blood like all over Owen's shirt for the rest of the event. And then
Mohammed gets his head all wrapped up.
Yeah. The classic grappler of like, and wrap him up all the way.
Yeah.
And then Owen gets a straight ankle lock.
Yes.
Later in the match on Muhammad Atanarev. Then we have Owen O'Flanagan versus Igor Tanabe. Owen O'Flanagan has a nice saddle entry, and then instead of passing it over all the way for the heel hook, he just hips into the knee sideways and gets a lateral knee bar, which is not super, super common.
No, but I think his legs were stuck enough that like it was there. I think it was more of like a sub from not really like
sub of opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's also Owen O'Flanagan has long legs, and so for the lateral knee bar from this inside position like that, a lot of times the longer leg guys can just kick their leg through far enough where you can change the angle on the knee enough where it's like, oh, the mechanics of the knee just now push to the side. And that's sort of what it saw. Again, we know Tanabe is historically like susceptible to leg locks.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that you would hunt real hard for them because, hey, he has a history of that. Why wouldn't I'm an amazing leg locker? Why wouldn't I hunt for that? So seeing a lateral knee bar didn't really surprise us, but it was just another submission for Team Europe in this event. So we move on to Owen O'Flanagan versus Oliver Taza.
Which was...
Angry Oliver Taza.
Yeah, which is this match all over again. This is the original Kryptonite match for Owen O'Flanagan.
Yeah.
He
Which is
lost
so funny.
Earlier to Taza.
Uh-huh. And he lost by decision. And it was not a super exciting match. Taza is the aggressor here, even more than he was in the first match. And we had... We had
Taza doing a scissor leg takedown that goes slightly out of bounds And as it goes out of bounds, you see Taza be like, I have his leg. I want his leg.
Like, specifically pointing to the knee and the position he has, which, again, as an athlete, if you're a young athlete or an athlete listening to this podcast, this is exactly what you should be doing as an athlete if you're going to get restart.
Because if you end up in that position, your job as an athlete is to not start in that position.
Yeah. It's like, hey, my job is to go, I actually had this leg and this leg. And so Taza is a professional competitor, and he knows, and Owen's a professional as well, and Polaris is a very professional event. But Taza is advocating for himself, and then, hey, my knee is here. I have this. This is where I have. And Owen kind of laughs and gets back to the center. They restart, and Owen kind of goes, Taza makes one pass over, and Owen immediately taps because the position that they set them back up in is essentially for Owen, you need momentum to get out of this. And if you're going to start them static, like there's just not a whole lot of defense, especially as a longer-legged Owen. Yeah. There's just not a whole lot of options that you have here for good defense. That's just not risking just blowing your knee out in a static restart. It is one of the worst things to have to do is like, hey, you start back in static restart in a leg position or one move away from a dominant leg position.
I watched something like this happen at the ADCC Open, New Jersey, where a guy says he went out of bounds and said that he didn't tap, but he was like in a full rear naked choke, like belly down rear naked choke, and so they start him like in a full belly down rear naked choke.
I mean, they started,
and he taps like 2 seconds later.
Not David Dilla, I forget the guy's name. And Paul Harris, they restart him in the heel hook, and you're just like, yeah, man. At Worlds one year, and it was like, yeah, man, I'll take not starting in a locked-in heel hook with Paul Harris.
I'll tap that shit.
I'll pay you money right now to not start in this position. But again, I respect at the world level, you try to get out of it.
Yeah, but Paul Harris,
you know the joke.
I miscalled him Paul Harris.
That's because that's what it was for years.
I know.
We all called him Paul Harris for years online. Paul Harris
because he'll rip your foot off, and even if they tell him to stop, he's still gonna rip it.
He will still rip your foot off.
Yeah.
And he only did that a couple of times. But still a couple times.
Nah, he did it more than a couple times. He got banned from organizations.
He got thrown out of the UFC for it. But again, even when the one he gets thrown out of the UFC for isn't even that bad. It's almost like a regular
when the ref
tap.
tells you to let shit go,
But the one that they were looking for a reason, because if you actually go back and watch the fight that Husamar Paul Harris gets thrown out of the UFC for after winning by leg lock or by sub, it's actually like not that. It's a pretty reasonable of the day for the time of the day.
But of the day, everybody thought that you get into a heel hook and your leg is going to fall off.
Because it used to, because guys didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
That was until like 6 years ago. We saw guys at ADCC 2019 get their legs blown out by Lachlan Giles because it just was like not as developed back then. So, moving on before we go on more non sequiturs here.
So, and this next match was hilarious.
A rematch.
Because I sat here and I was like, I hope they bring Mateusz out against Taza. Bring Mateusz out against Taza. Because Taza's already pissed off. Bring him out.
So Ono Flanagan versus Oliver Taza wins. Taza gets the heel hook win. And then Miranda, you turned to me on the couch and said that you're like, I hope they bring Mateusz out. And I was like, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong with you? And
because I knew what it would do.
And then they brought Mateusz out. I went, what the fuck, guys? And but again, it's also, from a tactical perspective, you're like, well, Taza's just beaten one of our best leg lockers.
Yeah.
Mateusz had an incredibly successful match against him earlier where he completely controlled and dominated. Why wouldn't you go now take a more tired Oliver Taza? Mateusz had more matches, but he's had a rest. He's had a halftime. He hasn't been out this half. He scored you a bunch of points. Why wouldn't you go and potentially go and take out Oliver Taza? And then they have a really close match that's very, very close. Yeah. And Mateusz wins the decision. Yeah. And Oliver Taza is pissed.
Yeah,
reasonably so. I think there was a solid argument that Taza could have taken this. It was a very close match. And depending on how you look at the scoring and the subs for this, or like how you looked at the match, there is a very good argument for Taza. There is a very good argument for Mateusz. It is a short match with good action for both guys. It is understandable that Taza will be upset by a decision like this. I think it is fine to give it to Mateusz. It is fine to give it to Taza. We watched it a couple hours ago. I need to go back and rewatch this to get persnickety over it. But it felt like it was close.
It was probably because Mateusz got towards Taza's hips. Like, even if he didn't get fully behind him, he was getting almost to the back, where Taza never passed Mateusz's guard.
Yeah.
So that it was one of those like.
Which one do you weight more? Which one do you give priority?
Because neither were really like trying to hit anything like any crazy submissions on the other one either. But there was a lot of like passing and like bolo attempts, and I think Mateusz was getting closer with his bolo attempts than Taza was getting with his passing.
Yeah. So again, Taza's pissed, but Mateusz takes another one.
And like as they raise Mateusz's hand, you see Taza.
And he like rips his hand away and takes it off. But again, I like guys that care about the results. I don't like it when guys like leaving are blasé about it. I kind of like when there's some stakes
And then I was
involved.
like, ha ha ha.
And then the rematch. So that's the rematch of the rematch have gotten back.
And then we get another rematch.
We get Mateusz versus Tommy Yip.
Yeah.
And then Mateusz. This was a funny one because Mateusz is working good top position.
Yeah.
And I was curious. I was like, I wonder what. Like he doesn't really at this point. At this point, we're running very low on time. Like the last like 6 minutes or something like that. And I went, okay, Team Europe is up 20 something points to like 12 or like it was very clearly that there was no way for Team Asia and Oceania to take this. Like
unless they won like 10 matches in a row with subs every single time.
10 subs in a row, they would have won.
At one point, the commentary basically breaks down, and they're not doing it in like a mean way. They're just going like, this is what they need to do to win. It's essentially 10 in a row by sub. And we all kind of looked at each other and went, ooh, why would you say it? Like, ooh, I appreciate you letting me know, but it made it very clear that there was no pathway to victory here. So we were kind of curious of like, okay, what does Mateusz do? Because you still need to run on, your whole job now is essentially just to run on the clock. You guys need to get your guys there with no injuries. Is he going to go for a sub? Does he want more fresh guys? Does he want more submit? Like we don't really know at this point what his new goals are. Then like, I need to run on the clock, but are you better off submitting a guy or not? And then he hits a fucking Barato Plata on Tommy Yip, and we went, well, apparently that's what he was gonna do. And it was actually a neat match because we had that discussion like during the match, and you kind of watched Mateusz, I think, also sort of figure out what he wanted to do in the match as well.
This was the match where we thought Mateusz was gonna like mother's milk.
Yeah,
Tommy
he kept trying to just like crush Tommy Yip's face.
Yeah,
and I thought it was going for like a mother's milk, for like a smother tap, and then he gets the Barato Plata towards the end of the match. Last match of the evening for the squads event. We had Mateusz versus Rashid, and then it's a very short match. I think it's like a 2-minute match or a minute and a half match, something like that. And Mateusz wins the decision, and Team Europe takes the whole thing 35-12. Just an absolutely dominant performance. 15
points from Mateusz. So Mateusz beat all of Asia.
15-12.
He should have took a trophy home with him.
Yeah, I think
just mail it to him.
He didn't want to fly the trophy or something like that. I was like, dude, you got to give that to Mateusz. He had 9 matches, 8 wins. Incredibly impressive performance. Again, the teams were a little lopsided. I think Team Asia could have fielded maybe some stronger guys. They tried with Kenta, but we looked at the preview. We did it last week, and we went, okay, you have the best leg lockers in Europe versus very strong and competent grapplers from Asia.
Yeah.
It is in Oceania. It's going to be a very uphill battle. But even then, a lot of times blowouts aren't really exciting to watch. The event was still exciting. Like I'm still happy to talk about the event. It was fun. We saw displays of good jiu-jitsu. There were some good back and forths.
I wonder if some of because they're not. I was trying to figure out if they were where they were. Some of our Asian.
I don't know. We have a lot of bigger, stronger guys in that region.
Yeah, IBJJF was in Europe, but it wasn't. That was the only thing. I was trying to think like if there was
championships.
Another event that may have been taking people, but I'm not really sure.
I don't know. It was an odd collection of guys. Again, not really trying to like talk around. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from the team that was fielded. Still great guys, but it was just Europe brought the best leg lockers on the continent.
Yeah.
And that is a very hard team for any region in the world to beat just straight up.
Yeah, even like an American team is going to have some problems.
Yeah, a lot of problems. Like that's depending on who you field. The American team doesn't beat the team that Europe fielded an incredibly good team. I think Taylor Perriman at the end of it gave a really good. He asked him in interview. I wish he had kind of given some large, lengthier answers, but like, how do you feel about the victory? He goes, it was anticipated.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of that's always what I talk about when I coach athletes. I'm like, you should always go into your competition going expecting to win. That should be the expected result, because if you're not expecting to win, you are setting yourself up for failure. And you may lose, but that's not the point.
Yeah, I don't know if all people need that.
I agree.
There's an argument there, because like I am the opposite.
Some guys put too much pressure on themselves and it becomes a problem.
Yeah, if I go into something thinking like, oh, I'm gonna beat this, like every single time I've almost ever done that and went into a match, I got blown out bad. Like, and I don't really know why, but I almost need to go into like this, like, I'm a piece of shit. I suck at jiu-jitsu. And then I do really well. So I don't know. I do the opposite in my own head.
I just thought his response was like, it's the response that I would
but
expect
as a coach,
from that.
For your team, that's different.
Yeah.
I think it's different to talk about a team.
It's also different from athlete to athlete. I've talked to Zach about this, and Zach has a very similar way of like, a lot of times you tell a guy that, he's like, it'll put too much pressure on them.
Yeah.
And then they will not perform as well, because they're expecting to go and win. And suddenly, if something bad happens, they're just, we weren't expecting that, and they can't compensate for it.
It's more challenging than what they thought in their head, and then it becomes a little more.
And so that's like
draining.
coaching psychology, and it was good. It's good to talk to you and to Zach and like to learn that, and that mosaic of like, oh, okay. But it was, whenever I hear an athlete like give that kind of response, I go, okay, that's what kind of athlete you are in the room, and it's just always very interesting to have that. But for sure, mail the fucking trophy to Mateusz Szczeciński. Like, he scored 15 points for your team out of the 35.
I mean, he is traveling, doing a bunch of tours, but still,
ship it to it. It's a tournament.
I think
pay the box.
Send it to his gym.
Yeah, man. Just have him display that trophy.
Give it to Poland.
An incredible performance, an incredible day. And again, I really enjoy the squads events. They're a lot of fun. I like that they're doing them. It's a different format, and they're
I just
fun.
thought about it. If ADCC is in Poland, I wonder how the Poland people, like, are they like really into it? Like, are we gonna have one of those situations where everybody starts chanting all kinds of crazy shit that we don't understand because we don't understand Polish?
Yeah, by day 2, we're gonna be chanting as well.
Yeah,
because it's ADCC. We're gonna learn 1, 2, 3 in Polish, and it'll be amazing.
Or the
Brazilian chant,
Portuguese,
you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
what a wild chant that a country calls.
We can learn that in Polish.
So that was the men's squads event. Let's talk about the women's title matches that took place. Miranda, what do you want to talk about first? We had 2 incredible matches. Where do you want to go?
Ffion Davies versus
Margot Ciccarelli.
Yes.
Ffion takes this, but I was wrong. I think we both
were
incorrectly picked Margot Ciccarelli in this.
Margot couldn't get to her back. Round 1,
yeah,
she was getting close in round 1, but that was the only time she ever really got close. Mm-hmm. And then it was like Ffion was like, bitch, I'm not letting you do that. Yep. And then like she just shut down.
That's sort of, the first round is very close. I would have given the first round to Ciccarelli. She loses a split decision on the first round, so it's 10-9.
It's 10-9 by 2 judges and 10-9 the other direction by 1 judge.
Yeah, so basically she loses the split decision on the side there for the first round. I would give it the first round, but it's very close. And then Ffion goes, all right, well, I'm not going to have this match slip away from me or like be as close as the match I've had recently with like Adele, or like I am going to push a pace here and pass and show that I am still the champion. And so
they've won against each other like a million times at the colored belts, allegedly.
Starting to get blue belt. Like all the way, they both came out through the same time. They talked a little bit about on commentary and in the interview, which I liked. But this was a bit of a return to form for Ffion, like the championship level Ffion, the aggressive passing, looking for top position, looking to get like. It was less of the waiting game. She, as the match went on, took less and less and less of her foot off the gas. Like she was in the driver's seat the entire time, pushing the action, pushing the pacing. Round 2, it's Ffion on the bottom working for sweeps. And really it was just the aggression and the consistency of her game. Like she just forced Ciccarelli out of her game on the defensive and sort of reactionary. And she takes a very clean 29-28 decision.
Yep.
Win.
She does.
And this is what we talked about, kind of to peel back last week. We were concerned that we weren't going to see this Ffion again.
Yeah.
And I was like, if we saw the Ffion that we saw, last time out versus the Ciccarelli we see in the first round, I think I stand by my guns there and Ciccarelli takes this.
Yeah.
But if we see this Ffion in any match, there's not many women, if any, in the world that will beat her.
That's true.
And it was very nice to see that because, again, we had some questions in the last couple of matches with Ffion of like, where's her pacing? Is she, what's her training situation? Like we had a bunch of X factor questions. For me, those were answered here. Ciccarelli is as top level as they come. Wasn't that much smaller than Ffion, if at all. And Ffion takes a very clean decision over her with just pacing and aggression. I think in most rule sets would have taken this.
Yeah.
And so just an incredible performance from Ffion. Very happy to see that she can still put on these performances. And it's awesome to be wrong for these reasons. Like I love being wrong when an athlete gives you a great performance like this because it's like, cool, I was banking on you not being able to still do that, and you've proved me wrong, and it's just like the best case scenario.
In all honesty, we haven't seen it in the last couple matches, and maybe it was she was traveling too much, or she wasn't able to really perform as good as she normally does, and that happens.
Yeah.
So we
but
saw
she's
that
back
today.
now,
Yeah.
and I really hope that Polaris puts her on every card. I want to see Ffion like. There's a couple of grapplers on Polaris. I'm like, I want to see Ffion like headline every card because that would be awesome. You have a collection of grapplers that I love seeing. Fion's one of them. So she's now she retains the bantamweight title. We had Helena Crevar versus Sula Mae-Loewenthal.
Yep.
Coming up for the 145-pound title. Crevar makes quick work of this in the first round.
Yes.
Immediately passing, gets the top position, looks for a top side head and arm very quickly in the match, looks to hunt the back with the head and arm in place, and essentially finishes with like what we called a modified head and arm from the Darce grip.
Yeah, I've seen like, what's it called?
Rotolos?
No, because it's not the same side as the Rotolos.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a Rotolotine.
No, but I've seen Jimenez do this. This is how Jimenez took out.
Yes, that's where we've seen this before.
It's how he took out, what's his name?
Roosevelt?
No. Big dude from Australia that just won.
Kennard?
No.
Declan.
Declan. Yeah.
Declan.
He took out Declan with this, but he went all the way to the back. Like he locked it and then turned the corner, went to the back, and I was like, oh, you're next.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, again, it was very, very quick. That was the main sequence on the match. It is way quicker than I expected.
What?
This match.
Yeah.
Like, I expected it to go, man. Like, because sometimes Crevar will kind of feel out, and, Crevar is still very much not a finished product. And it's cool because she is not, I don't have a nail on exactly, like, she looks like this in the match. She looks like this. Like, Ffion, she's been a champion for a long time. We very much know where her strengths are and where she sort of can get pushed out of matches. Crevar, we know where her strengths are, but we're still also seeing her occasionally develop and give us new pieces. Like, this is not a sub that we have seen Crevar go before.
No.
And so it's very nice to see it at this level versus a grappler like Sula Mae be able to finish a match that quickly with technique that we've just not seen put into her competitive game before. So it was super neat. It was very quick. Crevar retains her 145-pound title, and that was Polaris. It was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. It's on Fight Pass. It's a couple hours long. It's worth your time to watch. Yeah. It's again one of the reasons and one of the primary reasons I keep Fight Pass.
If they pulled this rule, like this way of handling the matches and pushed it into CJI, I wouldn't be unhappy with that.
Yeah, I would be pretty happy with. Like, this is the squads format. Just I think works just really well. This
is a little bit more fun because you can pull out anybody. It's not like everybody has to go once and you go through them.
Yeah,
and then you could do it timed, and then you don't have to worry about going have your 5 hour long. As long as you run
90 minutes. 90
put
minutes,
everybody on the sidelines
minutes.
and just jump them in whenever they want to jump in. Yeah.
It was cool. I liked the pacing. We were engaged the entire time. And it's good. Again, one of the reasons I really enjoy watching Polaris is because they put on fun matches like this. They bring top level guys, and it was great. It's one of the few events a year that we will get the team together to watch live. That is the highest honor we can give you on Grappling Rewind. Is we either fly out to your event or we watch you live at the house. And so that's good for Polaris. So we have ADCC in 2 weeks.
We do.
We will most likely do a preview show for ADCC coming up. We're not going to kick it off on this show unless you have a list up in front of you right now. If not, let's kick it out to the outro.
I do not. And we also, on the 22nd, we have BJJ Stars.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun event.
The Peaky Blinders edition, which I don't know why it's called that.
They have weird theming, but I kind of like.
I don't know where
you
they're
now
going.
speaking of Portuguese, we're probably. I want to get together again and have you translate.
I'm gonna try
as much as we can because the
try.
Portuguese commentary for BJJ Stars seems just
they're
like
lit.
the
they
best
have a good,
event.
They have a great time, and then you get to see all like the events, all the things going on between the matches.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's Peaky Blinders themed. I had like a military themed one. They
Yeah.
had like Amazon. They always have
dude.
theming.
Was it called Not in Jail? And did he come out on the military one with his
Herber Santos and the tank on his chest?
Did he have the tank?
Nope. He was in jail.
Okay.
He was in jail
at that
one.
point.
Yep.
Oh man,
he's gonna be in jail.
He has
for
a tank on his
long
chest.
time.
I don't know if you know that, Cory.
No, I didn't.
He also has an AK-47.
I remember the AK-47
tattooed on his
He
chest.
has a tank below it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
Herber Santos doing about 14 years, by the way. So he'll be out in a while.
Yeah, but I think that's one of those countries where they like for 1 week or one weekend a year they let you out to like do whatever you want. I think you have to go back in.
I think that's a fantasy.
Some of the South American jails, they have like little portions of time where as long as your attorney like is around you and watches you, you get out for like a weekend or like a week.
That'd be crazy.
It's some wild shit.
That'd be
Because I was
crazy.
like, how the fuck do you get them to go back?
That is reasonable.
I don't know,
So,
but it's yeah. I know Brazil does that, and I was like, that's kind of a crazy.
That is kind of
It's
crazy.
kind of
That is
like
crazy.
it's kind of like they sort of used to do that in California. They have like these little like huts that like if you are good and you've done anything you want to do, like you and your wife or you and your wife and your kids could go to this little hut for the weekend and then
hang
come
with
back.
your family.
Yeah, hang up for like 24, 48
When
hours.
you have
then come
way
back.
more knowledge about the
And
international judicial system
it's
than
wild.
anyone else on the team.
Well, it's because this is what I do for a living.
it is what
so.
you do for a living. It's like, no one wants to hear about environmental reg.
Well, yeah, if Herbert Santos can get out for like 24
bring
hours
him to BJJ stuff.
just to do BJJ Stars and then go back, he might hit a couple people while he's there, but it's a good
It
time.
would be crazy. So
Some wild shit.
him rush the stands
It'd
again.
be the jailhouse edition.
It would be. So let's get off this topic as fast as I possibly can get us off. Do we have anything fun going on this week before, other than me kind of prepping for a trip to Tennessee tomorrow?
no.
And then
I have to go to Georgia. I just read.
you have travel coming up. I have travel coming up. Cory, you got travel coming up?
Yes, but it's not BJJ related. It's
Mine
going
isn't
to Florida
either.
for soccer.
Oh.
Imagine that, right?
When
For
are
kids.
you-
IMG Academy.
When?
Next weekend.
See, next weekend I'm in Georgia because my kid is looking at a college in Georgia.
Nice.
So yeah, good
I
times.
will try to
good
get some
times.
training in when I'm down there. We're down there for like 3 or 4 days. So.
Oh,
we'll
that's
see.
fun. Where are you
Yeah.
gonna be?
Oh, is it Bradenton?
Where's that?
It's in Florida. I don't know.
Okay.
Where is that?
Because I was about to say,
We've
like, there's some
established this in Florida,
good.
It's
Cory.
about an hour from Tampa. I think it might be
Okay.
south.
Okay, talk to I'll tell you who to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be
But
in Chattanooga for a couple of days. I'll be in
it'll be
Atlanta
fun.
for a couple of days.
Yeah,
It'll be,
I'm with the child, so I probably won't be doing much.
Yeah, and then
But,
and I'm off to trials for in Florida. So hopefully get a chance to train for at least a day out there. But trials is always a weird one to go train at because
Everybody's getting ready for trial.
everybody's getting ready for trials, and so usually there's nothing like there is no training the day before. It's like public. It's all like team training, which is very reasonable, and you don't
No open
want.
mats.
Yeah, no, there's no
plus,
open hats.
plus, you never know. Like, if people are getting ready for that shit, like, they'll,
Yeah, I don't know. I
They're
don't
trying to
want to have
kill
a
you.
casual
Yeah.
role with a guy who's ready to put it all on the line for his livelihood the next day.
you don't want to do that.
So
That's
it'll
no
be fun. We have a bunch of travel coming up.
Gabby Garcia wants to fight for karate combat.
I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kind of that. Big.
I've seen some of the shit that came out of
Ryzen
no, the event in
Fight Circus event.
Fight Circus. I've seen some of it because like there isn't like a telecast you can watch on, and it looks wild. And
So
it
Gabby
looks,
Garcia was on Fight Circus for anyone who wasn't aware.
Yeah,
An event
yeah.
that we never
have
really
you
talk about on the
have
show.
you ever seen Fight Circus?
Never.
Oh, we have to.
we gotta
introduce you
show.
to-
Well, so after the podcast, Cory, we'll show you some Fight Circus. And
It's wild.
Did they wear
it-
like clown outfits and stuff like
no,
that?
wait,
or was
we'll
it-
we'll
No,
show
they did
you.
one where it was like beers and rounds or something. So they have to chug a beer, and then when you were done chugging the
Oh,
beer,
wow.
then it went into
They
like
had
the round.
one
But you had to chug the beer
where
first.
two guys in a t-shirt, in one t-shirt with one arm each, had
Yeah,
to
you
fight
only have one arm.
Rampage Jackson and Bob Sapp, who are also in a t-shirt with one arm. It's an amazing spectacle.
Yeah.
So on that note, do we have any other closing business before we
No,
end the podcast?
nah, this
Wow.
is it. This is
No.
it.
So
No.
As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, to my co-host. If you like the show,
Miranda.
please consider sharing it on
Cory.
Facebook with
And
folks
we are
at
the
your
Grappling
gym.
Rewind
It's the
to
best
that,
way that we
whatever
grow
it
the
is.
show, and we really
Stay
appreciate
safe.
it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google Plus,
Until that shuts down.
we have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.